So here I have another oval piece, exactly the same as the previous one. But this time I'm going to try something a bit different. I'm going to carve a proper oval bowl, but the lip will be all at the one level. And that's going to be a little bit trickier because it means that I'm going to have to change the settings as I go to get a nice even oval shape. So I've set the SpheroPlane with just a couple of millimeters protruding under the guard. Now you remember with the previous bowl, I started in the center and just moved a circle out and started building that circle. This time I'm actually going to trench a long line and then I'm going to start expanding that line as I go. So it's going to be, I'm going to build the oval right from the beginning. So starting by driving down the axis and expanding that. I'll just correct that. In actual fact, here I'm going around a little bit like this. However, I'm concentrating on moving in that direction there and here because that will just prevent this line from trying to form a circle. Around the ends here, I'll allow it to form a circular shape, but here I'll just drag it across. So I'm basically now just looking at the oval shape and just working within that oval. If I go too far over that way, it'll form a circle. So I have to be careful not to stroke in that direction. Like I said, I shouldn't have done that. It should be that I'm stroking in this direction along the line, allowing the natural curve of it to form that arc, but not sweep it around to form a circular shape. Well, it's turning out to be easier to do oval bowls than I first thought. I thought that I'd have to be adjusting it all the time, but I find that as long as you stay within your oval and work lengthwise more than across, it very quickly starts to even out and give you a beautiful shallow oval. So I'm going to make it a bit deeper now because I can go a bit more quite a way down with this. So I'll go a bit deeper, but all I'm going to do is just keep working within this oval and try not to cross the line of the lip that I've produced here. And I think that it's already, very little tool marks. I think it's going to come up very well. I thought that I was going to have to keep adjusting it for the different diameters here. Like you can imagine a smaller circle here, larger circle there. But in actual fact, I'm finding that just by having whatever setting I've got, I'm being dictated by the outside edge that I'm creating. For instance, on these surfaces here, it's cutting a steep angle, but can rock a bit like so. Whereas here, these edges coming in close and now it rides in there and it's quite a tight round. And the result of that is that I'm getting a steeper curve here and a shallower curve towards the outsides, which is exactly what I would want. So I'm going to set it a bit deeper and see if that continues. And then I believe now that simply by working within a confined area, what's intriguing me now is what would happen if I had a square piece or an oblong piece. So I'm going to do some more experiments. So it's starting to look to me that the SpheroPlane can be very good, giving you beautiful, accurate curves in almost any shape. It's always going to be dictated by the relationship of the outside guard and the cutter. But this is fascinating. Looks to me like there's many other shapes I can do. Managed to get a really nice, even oval shape. You will find that if you stay within the perimeters that you've got there and then just make sure that you keep the SpheroPlane within that, you've got to be careful on the edges, especially the long edges, because if you go over the edge too high on the edge, you can easily cut through the edge, and I've gone a bit thin there. But if you stay within, it will naturally form the right shape that you want for your oval bowl. Interesting thing with the sanding disc too is if that's been used on the outside of a bowl, it tends to wear in the middle, but I can reuse these for doing the inside of the bowls where it wears on the outside. So you get a bit of extra use out of your sanding discs. I just put the disc on and then wind it down until the guard touches. Which is really interesting because in the middle here, it can roll side to side, but not forward and back because it's resting on that arc, which is a tighter arc than the other one. So somewhere here, it should be stable. Well, that's incredible. Look, I've done a lot of bowls, and for me, always the most difficult part was at the base of the bowl to get that perfectly smooth, no ripples, you get the tool marks out, but then to get a perfect curve on the base of that is very difficult and time consuming. But you can see that I literally have filmed this whole thing, and you can see how quickly I got it, and it's absolutely perfect. So no ripples. That's just a very coarse paper that I went over it, and it really does help to even it out, but you just couldn't get that kind of perfection, especially in an oval shape. That's beautiful. Now to do the outside of the bowl, I'm going to focus on the two pointy ends, and I'm going to set the SpheroPlane so that it's just cutting here. It won't cut anywhere else on these wider arcs, but on the steep arcs it'll cut here, and I'll just as I come over from the top, I'll lean it over as it starts to cut, and it'll start to dictate the angle. So I'll get an idea of the angle. The further in the blade is, the steeper the angle. The further out it is, the shallower the angle. So let's see how I go. The SpheroPlane always wants to create a sphere, and when a sphere intersects with a flat plane, it always forms a circle. So I'm tending towards forming a circle, still a little bit oval, but as I bring that down, I'll end up with a circle here and a curve that I'll wait till it matches the corners here. So it'll be wider here because this is shallower, be equivalent of somewhere up here. But once I've reached that corner, then I should end up with the circle here, and then I will smooth out the sides here to blend them in. Well, I've pretty well finished this bowl, and it's come out pretty good. Definitely not as easy to do as the first bowl, where I'm just superimposing a sphere over over the oval shape. This one I have to do a fair bit of adjusting. So a bit more expertise is required to do a bowl like that. And frankly, I think the easier bowl, the one with the higher ends here, is probably a more interesting bowl. So in future, I think if I do oval bowls, I'll do them more like the first time. However, it's definitely you can do oval bowls and you can get a very good, I don't know if you can see in the light, there's almost no blemishes or any undulations, because it's essentially like a spoke shave, an adjustable spoke shave, and even though it's not doing a proper spherical shape, you can still trim and do very, very slight cuts, and so you can make sure that you take off the high spots with the tool and get a really good surface. So I'm quite happy with that. Another oval bowl. The oil that I'm using is called Oddies oil, and it's from Florida, I believe. Where is it? Yeah, in Tallahassee, Florida, in the United States. My wife bought this at a wood show here in Western Australia, and I was a bit skeptical of it, but I've really come to like it. It goes on really, really well. It's very sticky stuff, but you use it very sparingly, and yeah, so I'm quite happy with that as a finish. It's very, very nice indeed, and it's food safe. Beautiful bowl.